Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's now time for my April 2019 favourites video. This is not going to be anywhere near as long as the March video was because that was just unprecedented in the amount of stuff I was doing. It was quite mad. It was a great month, but it was nice to relax a bit during April as well. Still had plenty going on. I had blog posts to write about March, and work's been quite busy as well. And I was able to socialise a bit during April as well, which you don't need to hear about. But there are a few things I can catch you up with. I went on a theatre tour and to a few exhibitions and for a few nice walks, and I've been watching a few bits and pieces I can tell you about. So yeah, I can catch you up with a few bits and pieces that way. And there's a blog post to go with this as per usual too. So yeah, I will just crack on with it, and I hope you enjoy it as always. So firstly, while I didn't go to any theatre shows this month, I did go on a theatre tour. I went on a backstage tour at the National Theatre with London Vision South East, and that was really good. It was really interesting. For instance, we started off with the history of the building and how it was constructed. It was originally made out of wood panels, special wood panels, and then concrete was poured in and the wood panels were taken away. So you were just left with this unique concrete structure, which has quite a unique texture to it. Then we were taken into the auditorium, and we were able to stand at the highest level at the back and kind of look down upon the stage. We weren't able to go on the stage, but we were able to see the auditorium and get a feel for its size. And we were able to feel a model of one of the sets as well from one of their shows in their exhibition area. And then we also saw a video about the revolving floor on their big stage, which is one of their unique aspects. Other theatres have got revolving stages as well, but theirs is unique in that it's like a cylinder that comes up and down as well to like reveal sets within the stage. So I remembered going there in my youth with my parents for The Wind in the Willows, and the stage used to rotate and lift up to reveal one of the underground sets where the characters who lived underground would reside. So that brought back good memories of that. And we were also able to handle various costumes and props and special effects. So there was a very large black angel-like costume with wings on the back, which a few people tried on. I didn't, but a few people did. And there was a large polar bear head as well, and the rehearsal version as well that actors could practice with. There were some wigs and fake seaweed, a severed hand, and a burn suit with fake blood on it and stuff like that. So it was really, really good to feel all that. We went to the carpentry department as well, where we were told how some of their sets and models were built, and we saw things like brickwork and ornate wall decorations and things that were made to look real, even though they were only made out of wood or plastic or anything. They were just painted in certain ways to make them look real, and it was really clever how they did that. And then finally we were shown a large model of one of the horses from Warhorse, which I've never actually seen, but it's a very iconic show, and I was able to have a photo done with it. And yeah, it was just really interesting to see that because the actors can get inside it and control the head from the inside. And yeah, it was just a nice way to finish a very interesting tour. I can highly recommend it. The tour guide we had, Jess, was really, really good, really enthusiastic, as was her colleague Sarah as well. They were really knowledgeable and friendly and very good at describing things as well, as we were a visually impaired group. So we enjoyed that, and I would like to do other tours there as well because they do like an architecture tour and other types of tours. So yeah, if you're interested in theatre, then I can definitely recommend the National Theatre tour. It was very, very good. And then I also went on a couple of audio-described tours at the Hauser and Wirth Gallery in Savile Row. This is a modern art gallery that I'd never heard of before, but the audio describer, Caroline Dawson, got in touch and said she was doing a tour there, so I decided to go along because it was very nice of her to invite me. And it was really good. She's a wonderful audio describer. She described the exhibits very well and filled in any gaps of things that I might otherwise have missed or not understood properly, and told us a bit about the artists as well. So it was really comprehensive and really good. And the first gallery was actually one large artwork called Hyperpalimpsest by Stefan Bruggemann. I think that's how you might say his name. And it's basically this big empty room with black walls, it seems, when you go in there. But then there's all this text on the walls as well as you go in. And actually the walls are in varying shades of black, as if it's just been kind of messily painted in black. And the text on the walls incorporates like political, social, cultural elements and so on. The picture I've used in my blog for this has text like "Quit living inside," "Unsubscribe successfully," "Breathe deeply," "The event of writing may be the unevent of reading," "Looks conceptual," "Sometimes I think, sometimes I don't," "This is not supposed to be here," "Text installation easily removable," "Thoughts are products." Now, it might not sound much with me reading it, but what they did have in that exhibition was actually someone else reading it. They had an audio recording that played once an hour, and it lasted about 16 minutes, reading all the text on the walls. And it was done by musician Iggy Pop, of all people. The artist had recorded him some time ago, before this artwork was even conceived. and then created this artwork from that text and put Iggy Pop's voice over to it. And it's brilliant. I mean, Iggy Pop's got a wonderful voice, and he doesn't just read it in a monotone. He puts like emotion into it and power into it. Some of it's really kind of forceful and angry almost, and some of it's kind of very calm and thoughtful. And sometimes it even made us laugh. He was just really good. He'd be great at reading audiobooks, I think. So it was really interesting to listen to that, and it really kind of brought the kind of artwork to life. And then the other gallery was a proper exhibition, as you had lots of framed artworks on the walls. And it was called The Power of the Line by Geta Bratescu. And this lady uses very kind of well-defined lines and shapes and colours to create her artworks. And they may appear like fairly random images at first, but when you kind of look at them closely and you see the video in there of her kind of creating them, you can tell that she's drawn them very deliberately, like she channels herself through the pen as she draws. And you can see kind of connections between the images, because there's sometimes like groups of images as well that kind of work together with similar-ish initial layouts and designs, but they're all very different. It kind of makes sense when you see it. And there was even like a concertina book thing with like a picture of Louis Armstrong in like the first page, and it was unfolded to reveal like this fluid, jazzy artwork across all the other pages of this like unfolded book. It's really long as well. But it's something very different. I mean, I didn't take any deep emotional meanings from it or anything, I must admit. I mean, the other exhibit with all the text was more kind of thought-provoking in that sense. But even so, it was interesting to see something very different like this. It felt very unique, and it was something that clearly she's worked very hard on. So, it was an interesting exhibition. It was nice to look at that. So it was a really good tour, that. I mean, I don't always perhaps understand or appreciate modern art, because it's not always easy to interpret. So to have a tour like this that puts everything into context and describes it properly is really helpful. And thank you to Caroline Dawson for inviting me along. And then my girlfriend Claire and I went to an exhibition together as well. We went to Smoke and Mirrors, the Psychology of Magic at the Wellcome Collection. And we used the large print guide to help us look around there. It's proven to be quite a popular exhibition, I think. I mean, certainly the queue was very long when we went there. It's understandable because it's a very interesting exhibition. It really does make you think. It starts off with things like mediums doing seances and things, and showed how like conjurers were able to expose them as being frauds. And then there are objects used by entertainers from like Harry Houdini through to Tommy Cooper, Paul Daniels, and Derren Brown. And I enjoyed watching Paul Daniels when I was a kid, and I've seen Tommy Cooper in the past, and I love Derren Brown now. I think he's brilliant. So it was good to see stuff that they've got involved with. But there are also kind of demonstrations of psychological experiments as well, demonstrating how people can be misdirected and manipulated. And it's kind of very thought-provoking and surprising just how easily we can be influenced in all sorts of ways. We may not think that we can be influenced by such techniques. We may think we're above them and we know about them all. But actually, in one way or another, we are kind of influenced by certain things on a daily basis, whether it be on the TV or in the shops or just going out and about, anywhere really. It's so subtle sometimes. So it's really interesting to kind of look at all that, and it's kind of quite fascinating to see the experiments and the results that they came up with. So it was a really good exhibition altogether, and I can certainly recommend going. It's open until mid-September, so do go and check it out. And then over the Easter bank holiday weekend, we had glorious summer-like weather. It was really warm and really sunny, which is very unusual for a bank holiday. You'll know that if you live in the UK. So I was able to take a few days to go for walks around various places. A lot of the tube was kind of shut for engineering works and things. It was quite busy that weekend in terms of engineering. So I didn't really bother going into London except on one day. So I decided to explore my local area instead, because there's so many places sort of around me that I haven't checked out yet, because London is so huge. So on the first day, on the Good Friday, I went and looked around the Lee Valley by the River Lee. I went to Bow Creek Ecology Park and East India Dock Basin, had a walk around those areas, and then on to Poplar Dock Marina as I made my way to Canary Wharf. So I got a nice variety of photos there, by the waterside and things like that. And then my next walk was on Easter Sunday, and I went looking for various parks in the Beckton area, of which there's quite a few actually. It's amazing how many green spaces you can find in small areas in London. You might know the big parks, but there's loads of little ones as well, loads of little parks and gardens and open spaces. So I found Brampton Park, King George V Park, Cundy Park, Beckton District Park, and New Beckton Park, as well as going along a few tree-lined routes that are called Jake Russell Walk and the Beckton Corridor. So it was really nice to walk around there. It was quite amazing to find so many areas. And then on Easter Monday, I went and spent some time in Little Ilford Park in the afternoon, which is actually quite a big park, despite the name, as well as being like quite a big kind of grassy area in itself, with lots of places to sit and relax. There's also a very large grassy meadow area kind of at one end as well. It's quite long. And there's a couple of signs down there about the kind of wildlife you can see as well. So you can have like a nice walk down there and get away from everyone else. There was barely anyone else there when I walked down there, just a couple of people, walking the dogs or just relaxing. So, I had a nice long walk down there. And if you actually go around like the back of it, there's like a little kind of secluded path behind some hedges next to the motorway. And if you walk down there, you can actually get to the base of a big electricity pylon if you're into such things. So it's quite impressive to see kind of the size of that when you're standing underneath it. So I had a nice walk around there. So overall 3 days, I covered about 34.5 miles altogether, according to my phone, which I'm very impressed by. I didn't rush the walks or anything. I just took my time going from one area to another. So it soon adds up. It's surprising how far you can walk just by having a little casual stroll around for a few hours. So I'm really pleased with that. It was good exercise. And then finally, just to mention a couple of things that I've been watching over the month, apart from all the usual things that I keep kind of catching up with, of course. Following on from the Magic exhibition, and now that I'm kind of getting back into Netflix more since we got our smart TV at Christmas, I discovered there was a Derren Brown show from last year that I had never seen called Sacrifice. This is one of his special shows where he kind of picks somebody that's applied to be on his shows in the past and tries to manipulate them into doing something they would never otherwise do. And this was no exception. It was very kind of much in that vein. And on this occasion, it was about this guy who had quite strong anti-immigration views, which is quite topical at the moment. And he was basically trying to get this guy to, put down his life to kind of stick up for an immigrant, try and defend someone from being killed, basically. Obviously, this guy didn't know it was happening. He thought the show that he was being filmed for was about something else. And the idea is that he doesn't know, so he thinks it's natural. So, it's very clever to see kind of Derren's manipulative techniques as always. And you may think it's obvious that Derren's going to do it and the guy's going to do what he expects him to, but actually it's not that certain, especially not in this show, because, it does go wrong a bit and really does put the whole thing in jeopardy. So that just added more tension to it. And I'm not going to give away how it ended, but it was really, really good. It's really worth watching. And then I also watched the Blu-ray for the film Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the Queen film that's been very, very popular. And, I've already reviewed it in the past in my videos and on my blog. Suffice to say, it's amazing. Rami Malek does an incredible job at playing Freddie Mercury, and the whole film is just really well put together. There were kind of worries about it given all the issues it had during its production, but it's really been pulled off very, very well. I think Queen have been heavily involved with it to make sure it was a success, and it shows. It's really, really good. So, the Blu-ray is really good. The sound quality is amazing. There's audio description as well, which I turned on. I don't always turn it on for films, and let's face it, it's not always available on DVDs and Blu-rays. So I took the opportunity to turn it on, and it was really, really useful. It pointed out various things that I'd missed. It clarified things like facial expressions as well. And so I was really glad I turned that on because it really helped to fill in some gaps that I would never have known about otherwise. So that really enhanced it. And the audio is available in various formats. So you've got 7.1 DTS HD audio for the main English track. The audio description track is in 5.1, so that's in surround sound. There's also a stereo track as well, Dolby Digital 2.0, and there's Spanish and French surround sound tracks as well. And there's also subtitles in English, Spanish and French on this particular release. And there's a few extras on there as well, which are well worth looking at. And there are 3 behind-the-scenes features about how the film was made, called Rami Malek becoming Freddie, The Look and Sound of Queen, and Recreating Live Aid. And there are a few theatrical trailers as well. But the main extra, and the one that's worth the price of admission alone for getting this, is the complete recreation of the Live Aid performance. In the film, they do kind of show quite an extensive cut of them performing songs from Live Aid, like, the fictional version of the band in the film. And that was brilliant. But to see the full version is amazing. They really have gone to a phenomenal level in terms of matching the detail from the original Live Aid. It's just incredible. And they filmed it quite early on in the production as well. So it's even more amazing that they were able to pull it off, because to try and imitate Queen in any form is a huge ask. So to nail it in the way they have here is just phenomenal. So that's a real highlight of the movie, and it's great to see the full version of that here. And then in terms of other entertainment, just to finish on a few random things, I finished watching All the Stations Ireland on YouTube because that finished during the month, and I've also continued watching the QI DVD box sets. Both of them I mentioned last month, so I won't go into detail here. And Not Going Out has also returned for a new 10th series on the TV, which is very good as always. I enjoy Lee Mack's sitcom, that's very good. And then there's also things like The Flash and The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. I mean, the most significant among them is The Big Bang Theory, because that's going to end for good in just a couple of episodes' time as I'm recording this, which is, it's sad, but then again, I think it's the right time as well. I think it's best to go out on a high, and I think they've got to a point where it's a wise point to finish it, but hopefully, they'll give it a decent ending and also leave it open for a future reunion. It'd be great to see them back at some point. Young Sheldon, like the spin-off from it, I don't know if I'll keep watching that if it comes back for a third series. It's been okay, but it's not kind of gripped me as much as Big Bang has. It's still good, and I know it's quite popular with some people, but it's just not held my interest quite as much as Big Bang has. But yeah, when Big Bang finishes, I'll get the Blu-ray in due course when Series 12 comes out, and then kind of leave it there. That'll be a nice way to kind of finish the whole Big Bang thing. So there you have it. That was April. As I said at the start, not quite as much to report as in March, but it was still a fun month with various bits and pieces going on as always. May's been relatively quiet as well, but again, there'll be a few things I can mention in my May favourites. There's one particularly exciting thing I've done in May that I'm very excited to share with you when that comes out. I can't say any more just yet, but it's been something very, very new to me again, and I'm very much looking forward to letting you know about it. And then in June, I'm doing the Anna Ridia Network Conference. I'm helping out there, and I'm doing a speech there, so I'll be able to share the video of that with you, hopefully, if the recording has come out all right. And there's a couple of other exciting things I'm doing in June as well. So yeah, there'll be plenty to share with you in the coming months. There's always bits in the diary, which is good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the April favourites. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as always. And I will see you for another video very, very soon. Bye.